Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is the latest in my Rotten Tomatoes Got It Wrong throughout the decade series, in which I am joined each and every week by a friend and fellow movie fan as we discuss movies we think the tomato meter got wrong for each and every year throughout the 2010s. And today we're discussing 2016. So if you haven't seen the series, both myself and my guests are going to pick 5 total films that we think are either overscored or underscored on Rotten Tomatoes. Remember, these are just our opinions. These are all personal preference and personal choice. And I'm sure you'll have plenty of your own choices and opinions that you can respectfully leave in that comment section down below. We look forward to reading what y'all have to say. Now, this week, I am joined by my dear friend, Mr. Daniel Berrios, to discuss the year 2016. So, Daniel, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Hey everybody, on Larry's channel. My name is Daniel, and I'm here today to talk to you about 2016. The year when Agent Orange got elected, and we cluelessly thought that it could not get any worse. However, today I'm here to talk about the movies that Rotten Tomatoes got wrong. So without any further ado, I'm going to kick it off with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. This movie has a 75% certified fresh score on Rotten Tomatoes, and I just don't get it. The movie feels overwrought. It feels like there are 2 movies here. One where Newt's trying to round up some animals in London, and then the one where Grindelwald is slowly rising as like Supreme Dark Lord in this battle. These movies are fighting each other, and as a result, the movie is overblown, it's bloated. The characters don't come off the screen at all. I really don't like Eddie Redmayne and Catherine Waterston's performances. I like the other 2 people just fine, but there's something about this movie that's just too much for its own good, and it kind of reeks of a cash grab after the Harry Potter franchise. Afterwards, we are going to the opposite end of the table because London Has Fallen has a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I just love this movie for the kind of Steven Seagal for the modern age. I really like Gerard Butler kind of taking on this gruff action hero. I love that Gerard Butler is the only person I've ever seen angrily drink water in a movie. I like some of the more brutal kills in this, like when Gerard Butler hangs that guy's head out of the window and slams it into a concrete barrier, or whenever he sneaks up on a guy by crushing his windpipe with a baseball bat, and me and Aaron Eckhart did the exact same thing at the exact same time and just went, ah, God! Like, it's the sound that guy's throat makes when it gurgles is just so gratuitous and weirdly satisfying. If you're ever played a violent video game in your life, this is kind of the feeling that you get with London Has Fallen. It's just that sort of no holds barred, go for broke, kind of crazy action movie. We're moving on now to possibly, I'm not sure about this yet, because Rogue One is battling Attack of the Clones as my least favorite Star Wars movie, despite having an 86% certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. There are 2 good scenes in Rogue One, one of them being the realization that the reason the Death Star has the fatal flaw is because of a father's love for his daughter. And if you would have had Rogue One be the movie about Mads Mikkelsen on the ship as kind of like the inside guy who's trying to be like sabotage behind enemy lines, that might be kind of cool as like a short. And then of course the Darth Vader scene is awesome. But what Rogue One feels like to me is similar to what Fantastic Beasts felt like. It feels like an expansion of a universe by using the most random connections possible. And I know the cinematography, some of it is pretty, but it's pretty in the same way that you'd have like a Windows XP screensaver. It's aesthetically pleasing, but there's nothing emotionally driving it. I never felt a shot in this movie really like made my heart rise, except for the lightsaber shining at the end whenever Darth Vader kills people. That works. You marry the image with emotion, and you've got something that Rogue One, for the most part, just doesn't have. We're gonna move on back to the other side of the coin to Hardcore Henry, which I cannot understand why it has a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. This movie is a blast. This is like fueling Mad Max Fury Road energy because it's propulsive, it's frenetic, it does not let up, and it puts you right in the front seat of the action. Director Ilya Naishuller just put all of his stunt guys with GoPros, and they're going around running through cities in Russia and other crazy places to do this kind of video game story. I mean, it's a video game plot. The guy's wife gets kidnapped by an evil psychic villain and he has to go save her. But it's really just the energy of this and the creativity that comes with having this kind of handheld first person, always frenetic energy that really sells this movie. Also, it's got an amazing supporting performance by Sharlto Copley, who just gets to be a complete Looney Tune. He gets to dress up in a bunch of different outfits and lose his damn mind. It's just a ton of fun, and it's got that very kind of low budget, sort of guerrilla style sense of filmmaking with the stylishness to really pull something like this off. Like I said, Ilya Naishuller makes movies on a cheap that look like nothing I've ever seen before, and I just want to see him do more movies. So Hardcore Henry, a lot of sci-fi, crazy action in the first person, feels like a video game. It's fantastic. And we are going to close off with a movie that I know will get me hate, but 84% certified fresh. I don't like Deadpool. I like Deadpool 2. A lot. I don't like Deadpool. And one of the reasons I don't like Deadpool is just, for one, I didn't laugh at the jokes. I mean, if I'm not gonna laugh at a comedy, then I'm not gonna think the comedy's great. But structurally, the thing about Deadpool is it feels like it's holding back in some sense. There's some violence, like I think there's a scene where Deadpool shoots a guy off screen and just blows him in the head. And you see a little bit of blood splatter, but you know, when we live with movies like Rob Zombie's films, or we live with something like Mad Max Fury Road, which are just so crazy and really crank up the action and aren't afraid to get bloody and grimy. You know, for a movie that's supposed to be this complete kick in the throat to what superhero movies originally were, this movie feels kind of like it's playing it safe. Especially when you're looking at sort of the meta commentary. They're talking about superhero movies having these kind of one generic villains and the plot is kind of basic. I felt like within that structure, Deadpool wasn't really changing anything. It was just following the structure and commenting on how it's dumb. But if you're ironically acknowledging that something's dumb and you don't change it or tweak it, then you're just doing the same thing that everybody else has done. You don't get bonus points for pointing it out. It actually infuriates a couple of people, including me. That's it. 5 movies in 2016 that I believe Rotten Tomatoes got wrong. If you agree, disagree, want to talk about it in the comments, go ahead and talk about it in the comments. Thank you as always to Larry for bringing me on. It is always an honor and a privilege, and I will be bringing it back to you.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for taking the time out of your schedule to come on over here and talk about 2016 with me. Now, everyone, please make sure that you head over to Daniel Berrios here on YouTube, subscribe to his channel, check out his content, and show him some love. Not only does he do wonderful movie reviews over on his channel, but he also does monthly Blu-ray hauls and gives away the digital codes in the same vein that I do here on my channel. So if you enjoy those and you want more opportunity, make sure to go over and subscribe. Plus, he has such a different insight than many of us here on YouTube, and it's a great, refreshing take on film that I personally love and think deserves to be more widely seen. Now, 2016 was quite the interesting year for me personally. There were definitely quite a few picks I could have had, quite a few unpopular picks as well. But I'm going to go ahead and kick things off on my own personal 5 with a movie I think was overscored, and that is Hail Caesar. which currently has an 86% on the tomato meter, and I don't really understand why. Yes, it's pretty. Yes, the set pieces and the eras look wonderful and pitch perfect. I'll give you all that. Plus, the dance numbers are really wonderful. Everything with Scarlett Johansson's character in the actual studio, top notch. This really out there communist subplot does not work and comes out of left field. Our characters are all nonsensical, even for a Coen Brothers picture. It's just not very fun. It's not very funny. I found it to be a drab. And honestly, I think the script is a mess. While I think there are certainly enjoyable moments throughout the film, just sprinkled in some fun little set pieces here and there, overall, I found Hail Caesar to be a mess and think it definitely should be in the rotten area. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I think Jason Bourne is underscored. Currently sitting at a 55%. I think this movie was plenty of fun and pretty much on par with a good portion of the Bourne films. Certainly better than the last outing, I'll say that. First of all, that sequence through Las Vegas, that car chase that led into one of the most awesome graphic fights of 2016. Yeah, that was epic. It was amazing. It was so well shot and choreographed. Matt Damon was very strong in the role as well. And honestly, I think it just served as a really solid, strong action film and another strong entry into the Bourne franchise. It's not all that far off of being fresh, but I definitely think it deserves that extra push. And I'd say up to around 70%. Coming up next, we have a director I've already put in the overscored category throughout the series. And Richard Linklater returns, this time with Everybody Wants Some, currently sitting at a whopping 87%. And I just don't get it. I really think this was a pointless movie. And I know it's Richard Linklater's shtick to have these kind of just slice of life films where you're just there. There's not really a plot, there's not really a purpose. You're just there to experience the time with the people. However, the plot and the purpose of this film is college dudes trying to get laid, and they're not really fun people. They're not really good people. I don't know. I just didn't have a good time hanging out with them for 2+ hours. So I was sitting there bored and ready to leave this party pretty much the moment I got into it. Didn't find it very funny. I didn't find it insightful, literally at all. I just don't understand what critics and what a lot of y'all saw in this movie. It didn't stand out to me. This seemed extremely shallow and I couldn't get on board. Now, my next pick is one I know my co-host for the day, Daniel, happens to love, but I find highly overrated, and that is Silence from Martin Scorsese, which currently sits at an 83% on the tomato meter. Ultimately, I find Silence to be some sort of pseudo-intellectualism. I do think that the screenwriters and Scorsese himself think they are saying something so profound, when honestly, the ultimate message comes out a jumbled, unclear mess. In one perspective, do we really need to give U.S. Christians another reason to feel like they are oppressed? No, I don't think so. And that's exactly what this film does. Poor Christians, been oppressed in history, blah, blah, blah. Ugh. But on the other hand, through the lens of someone that is involved in their faith, this movie doesn't work out either. It really contradicts the meaning of devout Christianity in so many ways. So I think it misses the mark on either which direction we're looking at here. So while I do think Andrew Garfield gives a stellar performance, Liam Neeson is also very good in the film. It's overly long, overly indulgent, psychological torture porn in many ways. It takes us on these long roundabout stretches that didn't need to be there. Yes, it looks beautiful. I don't think Scorsese knows how to make an ugly, poorly crafted film. But just because on technical levels it hits the mark, on any sort of sensical levels, it really misses and turns out to be just a really painful movie to sit through that in the end doesn't accomplish anything it really sets out to say. And then finally, my final overscored film of this video for 2016 is Sausage Party, which sits at 83%. So maybe I'm a little bit too sensitive sometimes. I'm not sure because I seem to like Shaft from this year a little bit more than everybody else. However, Sausage Party was just downright offensive across the board in ways that weren't intelligent, in ways that didn't add to the conversation, that didn't have a good enough satire to back up the offense. Everyone from the LGBTQ community to every religion you could think of, they're all just like lambasted in negative connotations. And I'm sorry, having the fruit section be gay is not high concept, it's not intelligent comedy, and it just is stupid to me. So okay. Plus, we have rape in this movie like several times. Not only does it get into like ridiculous debauchery, there's legitimate rape that happens in this film, and it's played for laughs, and I don't think that's cute or funny at all. Sorry. Plus, when you find out that the animators were royally screwed for what was the best part of the film, the animation, it just really hinders and dampens the entire film for me. I don't think it was funny enough. I don't think it was well crafted enough for an 83 percentile. I honestly think critics and folks gave it a pass because it lambasted Christianity and religion and those ideals, but I need more. I need more substance. I need more intelligence. And you have to be bringing stuff to the conversation. Yes, the idea of going to heaven is utilized well in this film, and that as a base concept, I'm on board with and thought they did well. However, it's everything around that was just trash to me. I don't get it. Throw this into the compost bin. I don't want to see it again. And I really think Sausage Party is quite the rotten piece of food there. Yikes. So that's it. Those are my picks for the most under and overscored films of 2016, as well as Daniel Berrios and his selections for 16. Again, make sure that you head over to his channel, check out his awesome content, and hit that subscribe button. Let's help boost up those numbers and get him the audience he deserves. Also, make sure that you let us both know what you thought of our picks, and more importantly, what films you think the tomato meter got wrong. You can either leave those in the comment section down below, or you can hit both of us up over on Twitter. Of course, I'll leave all of his channel and social media links in the description down below. And if you did enjoy this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on my latest videos. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!